السلام عليكم أهلا وسهلا فيكم في الدرس الثاني or the second lesson in the second book of the Madinah book series. And in this lesson we'll study the word Laysa. But before that, I want to tell you guys three things that I missed in the previous lesson, which is that we studied the word which is the interrogative or. So whenever you're going to use with with the Hamzat al-Istifham and like the construction we studied in the previous lesson, you have to um, use it in a certain way, and that is, if we try to make it simple and summarize it, is that you have to use the dhamir or the pronoun after the adjective. Or you can, to make things simple, you for now you have to use it in the pattern, or you have to use it in the way in which we studied. So for example, أغالية هي أم رخيصة. And in this example, we use the dhamir or the pronoun here after the adjective غالية. So you have to, for now, you have to use it in the pattern we have studied, and then we are going to later try to understand why we use it, why we have to use it in this pattern. But for now, you just have to use it in the pattern we studied. And au is basically the non-interrogative or. So these two things I missed, and another important thing was that alf and mi'a, the numbers that we have studied. So the ism that comes after it is called ma'dud. It will so the alf and mi'a remain same even if the ma'dud is feminine or masculine. So if you're pointing, if the object and if the number or the ism that comes after the number, it's even if it's any feminine, the alf and mi'atu will remain same, which is not the case in the numbers that we studied from 3 to 10 or even 1 or 2. So there was salathatu and salathu, but in alf and mi'a it remains same. So on to Laysa, but so I'm going to tell you guys the rules of Laysa when we are going to see it in the conversation. Hishamun. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hisham says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bilalun. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Kayfa haluka ya akhi? How are you, my brother? Oh, my brother. Man al-akh. Man al-akhu is basically a polite way of saying who is the brother. If you don't know someone, you can say Man al-akhu. So Hishamun says, Ana mudarrisun. So you are addressing the person, but to make it polite, you're going to say Man al-akhu, who is the brother. So Hishamun, Ana mudarrisun jadidun bil jami'ati. I am a new teacher in the jami'ati. Ismi Hashim. Ismi Hishamun. My name is Hisham. Ana min al-wilayat al-muttahida. I am from the United States. So wilayat means states and muttahida means united. بلال أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بك يا أخي. Welcome يا oh my brother. أنا مسرور بلقائك. I am happy to meet you. أنا زميلك. I am your classmate. اسمي بلال بن حامد. So I believe this is a new construction that we are seeing, Bilal ibn Hamidin. And the thing that happens is this, and the thing that happens in this scenario is that the alif from ibn is removed, and the ism that comes after ibn will not get the tanween. So Bilal ibn Hamidin, but Hamidin gets the tanween since it is not mamnu min as-sarf. It is a muzakkar, and it's an ism. It's a name. It's a masculine name, and it is mudaf ilayh. That's why it has two kasras. So ismi Bilal ibn Hamidin. من واشنطن أنت يا هشام. So من واشنطن. So min is a harf al-jar, but since Washington is basically Washington, since it is an Ajami ism, or it's a non-Arab ism without 3 letters, hence it is mamnu min as-sarf. هشام لا أنا لست من واشنطن. أنا من نيويورك. No, I'm not from Washington. I'm from New York. So لست. So ليس is basically a fi'l, and so it will have all the conjugations that we have studied in the previous lessons. For example, to have لست, ليسوا, لسنا, and it is used for negation. So it's nafi, or nafi. Negation means nafi. It is from the akhwat of kana. So akhwat of kana, it's an extra information. Kana is a verb that we're going to study later on, and laysa is like from the direct translation would be sisters of kana, but it means from the family of the fi'l kana. It makes the khabar mansoob, and it makes the ism marfu'. So now we are going to study examples of this later on. And by the way, this statement, it makes the khabar mansoob and يعني it makes the khabar mansoob and the ism marfu. We are not going to we're not going to see examples of this in this lesson, but I thought to add it since we are studying the word Laisa. But we're going to study this in the later lessons, inshallah. And it gets an extra ba, or the harful jar. It gets an extra ba, or the with the harful jar, which we're going to study later on. So I believe we should continue with the conversation more before we study these rules. So أنا لست من Washington. So if you guys remember, when we used to add if it was a fi'l and we used to add a the with the dhamma in the end, it meant I. It meant I, and since we learned the past, the words for the past tense, and this construction is for the past sense. So for example, ذهبت or صليت, I prayed, I went. So أنا لست, I'm not from Washington. أنا إني من نيويورك. أنا لست, I'm not from Washington. Indeed, I'm from New York. بلال أمسلم أبوك يا هشام. Bilal says, a Muslimun is your father. A Muslimun أبوك يا هشام, is your father a Muslim? هشام لا هو ليس بمسلم. So this was the extra ba I was talking about. We added an extra where is it? No, we added an extra ba here, which is basically the harful jar. That's why Muslimin, it becomes Muslimin with the two kasras or kasratan. And this extra, so the main thing in this lesson you got to remember is that this extra ba makes, of course, it's the harful jar, so it makes the ism and majroor. And this extra ba does not comes if the khabar is zarfi, or if it's a prepositional clause. So for example, lastu min al Hind, or in this scenario, or from this conversation, we saw the sentence lastu min Washington. Washington. So since the khabar is zarfi, or there's a prepositional clause due to min, we do not say ana lastu bi min Washington. We just said lastu min Washington. So out of all the facts I've stated, and it may seem overwhelming, but you have to remember three things right now. Number one, laysa is basically fi'l, so it has the conjugations. It is for negation. Five things. It is for negation. It comes in the jumla ismiya, or the nominal sentence. It has an extra ba, or the letter ba, when you use it for negation. Four. And five is that the ba does not come if it is a prepositional clause or a khabrun zarfi. So huwa laysa bi muslimin. Biladun wa ummuka أمسلمة هي, and your mother, is she a Muslim? هشام لا هي ليست بمسلمة. No, she is not a Muslim. And like I told you guys previously, that whenever we are studying any language, be it Arabic or any other language, we cannot always translate everything, or there's not an exact 100% translation in the target language. For example, in book one, we studied the meaning of the word the harful jar be with we studied the tarjuma or the translation of be as with or at, but we cannot necessarily use this translation in the following context. So Hishamun لا هي ليست بمسلمة. She is not she is not a Muslim. بلال ألك أبناء يا هشام. Do you have sons O هشام. ألك أبناء يا هشام. هشام نعم لي 6 أبناء. Yes, I have 6 sons. By the way, this is a misprint in the book. This exercise was from the previous lesson. بلال الطلاب هم are the students. هشام لا هو ليسوا بطلاب. No, ليسوا. So if you guys remember the conjugations we learned from the previous book, يعني ذهب ذهب ذهبت ذهبت ذهبتي ذهبنا ذهبنا ذهبتم ذهبتن. So ليس follows those rules. Like I previously told you guys that all فعل follow the same rules. So ليسوا لا هم ليسوا بطلاب. No, they're not طلاب. They're not students. إن بعضهم تجار وبعضهم مهندسون. Indeed, some of them are traders. وبعضهم مهندسون, and some of them are engineers. بلال ألك بنات. ألك بنات. Do you have daughters? نعم لي 5 بنات. بنات. ألك بنات. ألك بنات. هشام نعم لي 5 بنات. Yes, I have 5 daughters. بلال أمتزوجات هن. Are they married? And متزوجون, so متزوج is follows the Jama' Salim concept, or the proper, it follows the standard rules of pluralization in Arabic. That's why we can use متزوجون for males and متزوجات for females. ألك بنات. نعم لي 5 بنات. Yes, I have 5 daughters. المتزوجات هن are they married? هشام لا هن لسنا بمتزوجات. No, they are not married. إنهن صغار. Indeed, they are small. بعضهن في المدرسة الابتدائية وبعضهن في المدرسة المتوسطة. بعضهن, or some of them, are in the beginning. ابتدائية basically means we can say primary school or primary education, and some of them are in middle school or middle education, or middle school is better. بلال ألك إخوة. Do you have brothers? هشام لا ليس لي إخوة. إن لي 3 أخوات. So we're going to study these type of sentences in detail, and in this scenario, or in this type of sentence, we studied that of course, and a thing I forgot to add was that for example, inna has the ismu inna and khabru inna, so laysa also has the ismu laysa and khabru laysa. So in this scenario, the li is khabru laysa, and ikhwatun, the word ikhwatun, is ismu laysa. And same is the case with inna. So in even in inna, the khabar, the li is khabru inna, not ismu inna, and ikhwatan is ismu inna, which is why it becomes and it takes the fathatan, or it becomes mansub. And why does this happen? This happens because there is a khabarun zarfi, which is li. And so this is basically a rule that if the mubtada is غير معرفة, or it is indefinite, or it does not have the al in the beginning, it then that becomes the ismu inna, and comes after the khabru inna. So now let's quickly recall the stuff we did. So the mubtada basically came after the khabar. Since the mubtada is غير معرفة, or it does not have the al, نعم. So if the mubtada came after it, since it does not have an al, and the khabar is zarfi, so it's li. And in this scenario, since the ismu inna is yani mansoob, hence it will since the ismu inna becomes mansoob, hence it the ikhwatun will become ikhwatan since it's the ismu inna. And on to the sentence we were studying. So ليس لي إخوة إن لي ثلاث أخوات. So this was the خبر إن, and this is the ismu inna. That's why it became mansub. بلال مسلمات هن are those Muslims. هشام نعم هن مسلمات والحمد لله. Yes, they are Muslims and all praise to Allah. So that was the end of the lesson, and we are going to study the exercises, or we're going to study the I'm going to give a brief introduction of the exercises that we are going to study. So أجب عن الأسئلة الآتية. Answer the following questions. من أين هاشم؟ من أي مدينة هو؟ كم أختا له؟ ضع هذه العلامة أمام الجملة الصحيحة، وهذه العلامة أمام الجمل التي ليست صحيحة. So you now understood what is the meaning of laysa and laysat. So you can understand the meaning of the sentence by yourselves. تأمل ما يلي. So you have to basically look at the following examples, and it's basically the conjugation. You can say the conjugation chart of the word laysa. So laysa, laysu, for laysa, laysu, laysat, lesna, lesta, lestum, lesti, lestunna, lestu, lesna. And they have given the dhama'ir in brackets, or the pronouns in brackets, to show that you can use it. أدخل ليس على الجمل الآتية. Enter ليس on the following جمل. اقرأ المثالين ثم أدخل ليس على الجمل الآتية. Read the following examples and then add ليس on the and then add ليس on the incomplete sentences or in the gaps. Yani make the following sentences as the examples given above or on the same pattern. أجب عن الأسئلة الآتية بالنفي مستعمل ليس. Answer the following questions with negation using ليس. يوجه المدرس إلى كل من الطلاب أسئلة يكون جوابها بالنفي ويرد عليها الطلاب مستعملا ويرد عليها الطالب مستعملا لست نحو. So this sentence basically says that the teacher, the one who is teaching this book, is going to address to every one of his students with questions, and the answer should be with the negation. So for example, I'm in America anta. So if I'm asking you guys this sentence, so you have to reply لا لست من أمريكا. أمتزوج أنت? Are you married? So you have to use the negation since it's practice. So متزوج أنت؟ لا لست متزوج. No, I'm not married. أمريض أنت? Are you a patient? لا لست بمريض. أمهندس أنت? Are you an engineer? لا لست بمهندس. So you can do this by yourselves too. اقرأ المثال ثم أدخل إن على الجمل الآتية. Read the example and then add inna on the following sentences. So this exercise is very, very important since it contains the confusing rule of the khabar zarfi, and any mubtada comes after and since it's غير معرفة and it's khabar zarfi, and same is the case with laysa. So laysa also, this is the case with ليس and inna both, but in this scenario you have to do it with inna. So for example في الفصل خمسة طلاب جدد. In the class are 5 new students. And if we add inna, it would become inna في الفصل خمسة طلاب جدد. Indeed, in the class are 5 new students. لنا مدرس جيد. We have a good teacher. So it would become inna لنا مدرسا جيدا. So you have to follow this pattern. So for example, لك برقية في مكتب البريد. So it would become إن لك برقية في مكتب البريد. And remember that whenever we add the fathatan, it becomes it gets the alif, the extra alif, if it does not have a ta marbuta. And masraf means bank. So now that's it for this lesson. I hope this lesson was useful, and if you guys think that I should repeat the grammatical stuff multiple times and explain it properly, or give more examples for it, so do let me know in the comments below. Or if you guys recommend me to not add extra information, for example I added من أخواتي كان and فعل ماض, so you guys let me know that too. مع السلامة.